What's up everyone, this is DARKSEID and welcome to the very first Destiny 2 help/tip video for this channel, DARKSEID Gaming. Today I wanted to tell you all about a ridiculously easy farm using a glitched checkpoint in a specific dungeon. This one can be used to farm great weapons, high stat, spiky armor, shards, cores, crafted weapon levels, really anything, you name it. And the best part is that it can be done completely solo without having to rely on another one of your characters holding a checkpoint and constantly swapping back and forth or anything like that. The dungeon I'm referring to is the Pit of Heresy dungeon, located on the moon, specifically during its third encounter, Chamber of Suffering. A lot of D2 content creators have been talking about this dungeon lately to farm the final boss encounter for high stat armor. This method I'm going to show you, however, is even easier to manage, much faster, and all for the same great armor drops and then some. I haven't seen any other video about farming this particular encounter with its checkpoint glitch. The short and sweet of this farm is that once you complete the encounter and the rewards chest spawns, you run over, grab the loot, and then immediately wipe using a rocket or whatever you like, and when you respawn, you'll be right at the beginning of the same encounter. It is so simple, fast, and especially easy to do if you're wanting to farm solo. My friend and I farmed this for a while and was able to get it down to about 2 to 3 minutes per run. So again, it's very fast, and you get the same armor drops you can get from farming the final boss, as well as the Altars of Sorrow weapons. The main reason you may want to farm this encounter specifically is because it is one of 2 encounters that can drop the legendary high impact pulse rifle premonition. A lot of people have been talking quite a bit about the recent buff Zen Moment got, as well as the Headseeker changes, making pulses pretty popular right now. And just like Messenger in the primary slot, Premonition can get both of these perks together, but while being in the secondary slot. While doing this encounter, you can pop any consumables that give materials you may be needing, like Finest Matter Weave for enhancement cores, Rainmaker if you're short on Glimmer, and you can even go to the Eververse store tab of the Director, and down in the Bright Dust section there is a consumable called Concentrated Matter Gem. It gives you the chance to earn an upgrade module when you defeat tougher enemies, basically. When referring to leveling crafted weapons, people's go-to farm is the Shuro Chi checkpoint in the Last Wish raid, but I honestly can't stand doing that anymore. It's so mind-numbing shooting Shadow Thrall, and it gets incredibly boring so very fast. This encounter actually is kind of fun, and at least a tad bit challenging in comparison, so I'd much rather do this than Shuro Chi. Also, keep in mind that you gain a chunk of level progress when completing activities. It's the same during this encounter every time you open the chest, which you don't get in Shuro Chi since you end up wiping the encounter before you actually finish it. When considering that, this could actually end up being a faster way to level weapons. If you're really just farming for new weapons though, or more specifically the previously mentioned Premonition Pulse Rifle, you'll definitely want to do Eris Morn's weekly bounty to get a Hymn of Desecration. This consumable greatly increases the chance of a weapon drop from your next Necropolis or Chamber of Suffering encounter in the Pit of Heresy. This effect lasts until the dungeon encounter is completed. I had a few of these saved up from the early Shadowkeep days, but if you don't, the bounty is fairly simple to complete. You just need to finish waves of Altars of Sorrow to gain progress. One full run from beginning to end doing all 6 tiers only gets you around 80% done with the bounty, so 1 or 2 more tiers afterwards will top it off and you'll have your Hymn of Desecration. Use these at the beginning of your dungeon encounter and it'll increase the likelihood of getting the pulse, since this is a pretty big loot pool compared to other farms. If you're only needing some easy to get high stat armor, then the final boss may be the better farm for you because armor is the only gear it drops. Focusing armor at the helm used to be the go-to method, but it doesn't always provide the best stats anymore. For me personally though, I want either the Blasphemer primary slug shotgun or the Premonition. The high stat armor is just a nice bonus for me. I even have my eye on the Apostate Sniper Rifle, which I used to love, and it was around when it first was introduced, and I haven't really tried it in the latest sandbox. I'm really interested in trying it out again. As for the Blasphemer, I honestly believe it to be one of the best legendary slug shotguns. A lot of people lean towards the Heritage shotgun from Deepstone Crypt, especially now that it's craftable. But as with any weapon, it all comes down to how it feels when you're using it, and I just much prefer Blasphemer in that regard. Of course, you can always farm altars on the day that specific weapon of choice is dropping, but again, Premonition can only drop from the dungeon, and this farm is your best chance at it. Some additional quick tips. It is very easy to get overwhelmed in this encounter, especially if you're running solo. Just keep moving, don't slow down, and use your heavy or a sniper rifle to take out the knights that spawn up top because they hurt very much. Really, any build will do fine in here. I was having a lot of fun with the Strand build that utilizes the artifact perks Untangler and Threaded Blast. With the new Hunter Exotic helmet to pretty much constantly have tangles around that when you shoot with a strand weapon will just completely nuke the area, which you've seen numerous times at this point throughout the gameplay, and it is just so much fun. Don't forget to equip the Discipline Armorer mod to your Ghost, which increases the chance of the armor that drops to have a higher Discipline stat. When this happens, I've heard that the top 3 stats are primarily focused on having higher recovery and resilience instead of anything else. One very important caveat to remember about this is that this will only work when it is the featured dungeon that rotates weekly. This means that at the time this video is going live, you will only have 3 to 4 more days until it's no longer the featured dungeon. Pit of Heresy will be featured again during the week of May 2nd, just before Season 20 ends. And the silver lining to this is it will give you about 5 weeks to do Eris's weekly bounty for more Hymns of Desecration that you can then just save and use when the dungeon is farmable again. I hope this was informative for some of you. I was really excited to share this since I didn't see it being talked about very much at all. And again, this is the first of hopefully many Destiny content videos, so a thumbs up and or subscribe would be so incredibly helpful since this is such a new channel. I will link a helpful video from Fallout Plays in the description that can guide you through the specific mechanics of this dungeon in much more detail. You can also follow me on Twitch, where I stream Destiny PvP pretty regularly, but mostly focusing on Trials of Osiris during the weekend, which you saw in the opening of this video. That is where I will primarily be unless this channel picks up more steam and the demand for these sort of videos rises. Trials of Osiris should be live right as this video is being posted, so if you're one of the first viewers, I will likely already be live on Twitch suffering through the weekend, so definitely come and say hi and hang out in chat, and I will let the rest of this Encounters gameplay footage wrap up the video, and I hope to see you all again soon.